I hold in my hand a double hopped IPA and in this one a dank IPA. Separately, terrific. Together, ooh, who knows?
Everyone who's ever had a beer has woken up the next morning feeling like they got hit by a bus. How do you cure a hangover? We'll tell you.
He's Mike Sealski. I'm Glen Macnow. We're at the Tannery Run Brewworks at Ambler for a new episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Maker's Passport. Download your free digital pass and sip your way through Montgomery County. By the Conshohocken Brewing Company, featuring 4 locations and available at beer retailers throughout the tri-state area. By Visit Bucks County. Travel the Bucks County Ale Trail. Get your passport at visitbuckscounty.com. And by support from the Pennsylvania Malt and Brewed Beverage Industry Promotion Board and grant funding from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.
Hey, welcome to a new episode of What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow, joined by my radio partner, Mike Sealski. Nice to see you, pal.
You too, Glenn.
We're at the Tannery Run Brewworks in Ambler. Lots to talk about today. We're going to start with an issue, blended beers, because these days you pair beer with everything, including Mexican food, including pretzels, whatever. But what about pairing beer with beer? Now, they do one here we're going to start with. This is the Tannery Run Celestial Dragon Dank New England IPA, easy for me to say, and this is their Terrestrial Dragon Double Dry Hopped IPA. They blend them together, and so we will. See, I think that works.
Yeah,
separately,
I do too.
Good. Together, a little more complex. Now, you and I are going to do our beer swap. That's your initiation.
It is.
What'd you bring?
So, I wanted to go a little bit old school. I love craft beer, but I consider this kind of the original craft beer in the area. It's a Yuengling Black and Tan. Yuengling, obviously the oldest brewery in the country, founded in the 19th century. They only introduced this, however, the Black and Tan, in 1986. So it took them a while to get to it. Cost-effective beer, easy to drink, not as heavy as a lot of porters, a real favorite of mine.
It is, in fact, the first beer I ever drank in the state of Pennsylvania when I moved here. I said, give me something local, and I did. I've loved it for a lot of years. Here's to you.
You too?
Good stuff. I like it. Last year, Joe Sixpack and I, on a show, actually made our own Black and Tan, pouring 2 beers together,
Really?
and it worked, yeah. All right, so here's what I brought you, and I think this is going to be fun. Omegang Brewery, I know you're a fan of theirs.
Huge.
Up in near Cooperstown.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. This is their 3 philosophers. All right, this is going to be pretty hefty, okay?
All right.
This is a blend of quadruple ale and Belgian Creek ale with cherries. Comes in at a 9.7% ABV. I'm going to tell you, this is
Good
what it
thing
says.
the rest of my day is over.
Yeah, really. From the website, Mike, it says, it's malty depth and gentle sweetness enhanced by sparkling carbonation and a serendipitous touch of cherries, pouring a mysterious chestnut brown. They're getting carried away. Here you go. 3
right.
philosophers from Omegang.
Oh, I can taste the serendipity.
Yeah. Well, I can taste the cherry. You know what?
Yeah, the cherries really do come
Okay,
through.
so here's this beer. I would say sharing one of these
Oh, absolutely.
is probably a good idea.
Yes, because you'll have a full one on a Friday and not come back until Sunday, I think.
All right, so those are the blends that we are trying. Now, here are some other suggestions for beer blends. Tell me what you think. The Candy Apple, and we've got the cans, you can see them, is a brown ale, a mix of brown ale and hard cider. Now, I love a good nutty brown ale. It's one of my
Same.
favorite styles. I'm not really a cider guy, but we'll see. I brought the Nubian by 2 locals of Philadelphia. It's a new upstart local brewery.
Okay.
This comes in at 5.7, mixes well with the Sir Charles Atacama Bone Dry Hard Cider from Original 12 Cider Works, also in Philadelphia, very local. Supposedly, the tartness of the cider works with the nuttiness.
That's fine. I'm not a big cider guy either. I'm not a big sour or tart beer guy. So the idea of mixing that with a nut brown ale sounds very appealing.
All right,
to
how
me.
about this?
All right.
A dirty hoe. I don't know if we can say that on NBC Sports Philadelphia, but
You
here's what it is.
You have my attention, Glenn.
This is a Hoegaarden wheat, which is very good.
Sure.
standard one with Lindemann's Framboise Raspberry Lambic beer.
Summer.
Yeah, right?
You know, summer beer.
Yeah,
Summer
I
mix.
would think, but we had it. Another one that got mentioned to me, you said you did some research on this.
I did recently, is a Black and Blue, which is a Blue Moon and a Guinness. And, it's kind of the beginner, the introductory course if you're going to mix beers. I had one of these recently. Not a huge Blue Moon fan.
Yeah.
Moderate Guinness fan like anybody else.
Yeah.
Together, I really liked it. It was
Is that right?
very easy
Sweet.
drinking.
Bottom line, be creative, have a great time with it, see what works and what doesn't. It's always fun to experiment. All right, one other thing. We are trying to get you, our viewers, to send us beer videos. You trying beer, sharing beer, tripping over beer, whatever you want to do. We'll give a $25 Conshohocken Brewing Company gift card for the best. The one this week, well, it's not ours, but it's from the NBA. And as you see, a little bit of an accident as, what's his name, Mason Plumlee trips into the poor woman serving beer.
Yeah, you never like to see this happen. I can remember distinctly, I was sitting once at a table at dinner with a bunch of Philadelphia sports writers in New Orleans. The server came over, tried to put a glass of water down on the table. It started to tip. She reached, the entire tray went into my lap. All other 10 guys at the table just looked at me like, oh, you poor thing.
I had this happen to me at an NBA game, not with beer, but with a soda, with a Coke. I was covering a Pistons Milwaukee Bucks game at the Palace in Detroit, and Joe Dumars, this is a while ago, flew over the table to get a loose ball, admired his effort, a whole Pepsi all over me. The thing is, he just got up, turned around, went on the court.
He's in the zone, man. He's
just
not worried about you.
Look at me like, hello, Joe, come on, help me out here. Anyway, okay, blend beers, enjoy, and send us videos. We'll send you a gift card. Coming up, everybody has had a hangover. You had a hangover in your life?
More than one.
Okay. These are the cures that are guaranteed to work for hangovers. We'll see. We're at the Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler with, not Joe Sixpack, almost said it by habit, my friend Mike Sealski. I'm Glen Macnow on What's Brewing. Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. I'm Glen Macnow, joined by Mike Sealski. We're at the Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler, a member of the Valley Forge Tourism and Convention Board. Now, we've got these amazing chicken sandwiches in front of us, which are going to enter into conversation in a moment. I got the hot, you got the classic, but we also have this, my friend, and this is the Draft Top Beer Can Opener, $33 investment from drafttop.com. They sent these to me. We're going to try to see if these work, and then we'll explain why they do it, okay? So we both kind of looked at the instructions.
We had to practice.
Right. The company says, here's their pitch. It's pretty universal that most people don't enjoy drinking beer from cans because you're not able to truly taste the beer because your nose is pushed up against the aluminum top. We set out to make it possible for people to taste what they are drinking without wasting a glass or plastic cup. All right, so you're trying this. Is it working?
It seems to be, I think.
Yeah. Here's the problem. I'm making a mess of this can.
So am I.
Okay. I'm not sure that this is going to be a popular thing.
No.
Didn't work?
Didn't work for me either.
Well, I am sorry to say that the Draft Top Beer Can Opener did not pass our test, but we did make a mess. So there we go. If you are successful in opening enough beers and drinking enough beers, there's a good chance you're going to get a hangover.
Yes.
You? Yes. Give me your best hangover story, Mike Sealski.
All right, so I was married in 2007. In that summer, I had my bachelor party. My buddies took me to a minor league baseball game. I drank an entire six-pack of Leffe Blonde in the car ride on the way to the game. I had a little bit more to drink at the game. Suffice it to say, when the reception came around during his speech, my best man referred to my bachelor party as the seventh inning wretch.
Oh, no.
So that was kind of the pinnacle, if you want to call it that, for me. How about you?
There was a night in college where I woke up literally with my head resting on a toilet bowl the next morning. So That I didn't drink gin for like 5 years after that. It was a gin night, and it kept me away from it. But we're older and more mature now.
Oh, absolutely,
So
yes.
we can just offer advice, and we asked our people on social media at Real Glen Macnow on Twitter, your best hangover remedies. We got a lot which kind of alluded to the hair of the dog. Elise Corbett says a Bloody Mary the next morning always saves me. I don't know.
I don't know about that. I'm much more kind of measured in the hangover takeover department, I guess you'd say, the recovery. Stephanie Z mentioned a packet of Alka-Seltzer, a packet of Immersion C. She's taking this step by step.
Wow.
Lemon seltzer, mix it all together in a glass and drink.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
and
whatever
a lot of
works.
people recommend kind of greasy food. Nicely, Morton said, I used to get fast food. Everybody said greasy food would help. As time go on, I just try Coke. So I am going to try this hot chicken sandwich, which we are told by our host, Tim Brown, is, in fact, would work as a hangover cure. Don't try it because you're going to have to talk while I eat, okay?
Well, the interesting thing about the hot chicken sandwich and the chicken
it's delicious.
and the sandwich in general, right, is you've got like the three major hangover repellents, right? You've got pickle juice.
Yeah.
The pickles are brined in beer, I believe, and you've got fried food. So it's like the blessed trinity of hangover cures in one bite.
All right, from our viewers, Brian Hildock says a double quarter pounder with cheese, no onions. I'm glad he doesn't do the onions.
Yeah.
Heavily salted, large fries, large Coke, 3 Advil, and a half a gallon of water.
A half a gallon?
Add on McNuggets with hot mustard sauce if shots were involved. Eat while under a blanket on the couch.
I'm going to try this, and
I
think this is a half gallon of fried chicken.
All right. Gino from Philly says, cream chipped beef over home fries with 2 over medium eggs. I've never had cream chipped beef. I could see that being like the worst possible thing.
I love cream chipped beef. I'm not eating it with a hangover.
Okay, you mentioned pickle juice, HOF, I guess Hall of Fame. Scott Rowland. Drink sweet pickle juice. Just try it and don't ask questions.
That's got to be a member of the 2000 Eagles. Who won that first game in 100-degree Dallas.
How about this one? Retired at 42. Well, congrats. That's the person's...
lucky him or her. 3
Advil, vitamin water, bacon, egg, and cheese croissant from Dunkin' Donut. Problem solved in an hour.
The Advil probably gets that done. And, never a bad reason to get a breakfast sandwich from Dunkin'.
Here at Tannery, they recommend their chili for a hangover. I could see that also being an effective way to do it.
Let me tell you, I'm sober, but I'll give it a
just
shot.
a couple I'm going to do. Spinnin' Bob, say spinning from the booze. Pedialyte freezer pops and saltine crackers.
Not bad.
Would you do that?
I would do that. I would do that chili, too.
And FB says, before you go to bed, take a multivitamin with a full glass of water. Hangover defeated before it even starts. This and some milk thistle. Do you know what milk thistle is?
I have no idea.
So I looked it up.
Okay. I'm glad you did.
Historically, milk thistle is a plant with white veins, thus the milk name with the thistles on top. It is used for liver disorders and gallbladder problems, so I guess it could work for hangovers as well.
I guess. It seems like an extreme step.
Finally, Johnny Base Notes says, not to be a goody two-shoes, but abstinence is the only sure way to cure a hangover, although I'll be the first to admit that I have confused abstinence with absinthe on several occasions.
I'm not sure I want to hang with Johnny Goody Two-Shoes.
Hey, coming up, use those wisely. Coming up, we're going to visit in France with my friend Joe Sixpack. I'm here with Mike Sealski at Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler for What's Brewing. Hey, it's Glen Macnow here with Andrew Colligan, genius and chief bottle washer at the Conshohocken Brewing Company, here to show us what's hot for 2023.
Our lead dog, Type A IPA, citrus and grapefruit, 7% West Coast IPA.
Love this one. It's coming home with me. What's next?
Life Coach, our hazy IPA, our fastest growing brand, juicy and citrusy, perfect for any hazy IPA.
And very crushable. Keep going.
Ring the Bell, our American lager, crisp, clean, easy drinking, tastes especially good down the gate.
No better way to celebrate a win. And
Backpack beer, our Belgian-style wheat, light, refreshing, and approachable. Throw a couple backpacks in your backpack.
I'm gonna go take a hike. Finally,
Publer's Row, our classic ESB, proud to make maybe one of the best English ales in the country. Philly loves an underdog. Support your local brewery and watering hole.
it's a beautiful sentiment. All these available at Conshohocken Brewing locations or wherever great beer is sold.
It's the trip we look forward to every year. The one that takes us back to our roots. Reminds us we'll always be young at heart. intrigued by the unseen, and old enough to know that, well, we're not. The familiar feeling of fall in Bucks County. We'll be home soon.
Hey, welcome back to What's Brewing. We're at Tannery Run Brew Works. Me and Mike Sealski drinking our way through the menu. However, as you can see, I have moved to the river. And I'm going to talk across the ocean to my friend Joe Sixpack in France for our weekly segment. How are things over there? You enjoying it?
Greetings, Glenn. All well here. A little chilly today.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, it's the winter. They have that over there too.
Yes, they do.
Today we're going to ask Professor Sixpack, a segment I always love, to talk about hops. The backbone of beers, of course. I guess specifically you want to talk about Cascade hops. But the interesting thing is this. Back in the day, like when my dad was a younger man, I guess, even when I started drinking, hops was not something that they actually wanted you to taste in beer. Is that correct?
No, they were basically, hops were there for balancing the malt, the sweetness of it. Glenn, we all remember those Keystone beer commercials, the bitter beer face. I mean, that they didn't want you to taste the hops, but I would say hops define craft beer today, and has for years now. It's the single most important ingredient, even though it's only a small amount of the ingredients, but it defines the flavor, the aroma, and the fruitiness and bitterness of the beer as well.
All right, so let's talk about how we got from there to here, because as you say, it does define pale ales. It was a government program that kind of came up with all this?
Yeah, I guess it was the agriculture department was looking for a type of hops that could withstand mold and mildew that is very prevalent in the growth of hops. And somehow they came up with the Cascades hops. It's actually a hybrid of some other hops. And it was made rather specifically for its resistance to mildew. And it took a little bit to get brewers to start using it, but interestingly enough, the first brewer to use Cascades hops was Coors, which we never think of at all about it, hops and Coors.
No.
But
so what'd they do? So what happened?
Yeah, so Coors uses it, but finds out that they're too strong. The Cascades hops are too strong for their light beer. And it might have been relegated to the dust pile of history, if not for Fritz Maytag from Anchor Brewing, who got a hold of the hop variety Cascade. And he decided that rather than just using it to balance, he would promote the flavor, make it a signature part of his Liberty Ale in 1975. And that's now regarded as the first American IPA. It was a big, full-flavored beer with hops in your face, big aroma, and a really pronounced bitterness.
I got to tell you.
It wasn't long until after that Cascades started getting picked up by other breweries, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale predominantly.
So to me, Fritz Maytag is the Benjamin Franklin of this thing. The guy, the Thomas Edison of it. The guy who... And by the way, it smells so good. Those hops just smell so good. How'd they come east? So Fritz Maytag's out west, Sierra Nevada's out west. Who brought it east?
I got to give credit to Victory Hop Devil here, Victory Brewing out in Downingtown for this, because that brewery started as predominantly brewing German-style beers, but they figured out they needed an IPA in their portfolio. And they made this Victory Hop Devil with a lot of Cascades hops, at least for me, as a beer drinker in Philadelphia. That was the first really in-your-face IPA that I can remember from the East Coast. Outstanding beer, and so they get a lot of credit there at Victory.
Okay, so, and they do. And Cascade hops, they have been the thing for a long time, but really in the last few years, it seems like we've seen much more innovation and use of other hops and combining the hops. Like I guess, what was next? What brought us here?
Well, the Cascades hops gave beer sort of a piney kind of flavor to it, and they were bitter. And we've seen the taste change over time to more fruity aromas and a less bitter flavor. And these days, we're seeing the predominant hop is no longer Cascades. It's actually Citra, which does give you that kind of tropical fruit aroma. And it's a great beer. They're perfect for those big hazy double IPAs that are so popular these days.
All right, we got about 1 minute left, but I got to give you a story. I know you're now living over in France, but this will bring a smile to your face because you and I have debated before whether it's appropriate to have kids in brew pubs. I like it. I like people of all ages, young, old, dogs, cats. Bring them all out. Let's have a party all together. You'll be happy to know that Human Robot in Kensington has put its foot down and said after 2 p.m., no kids in the tap room. This does not apply to its Jenkintown place, but it does. I don't like it. You got to be thrilled.
Well, I am. That news actually made it across the Atlantic. It rocked everybody in France, I think.
Big topic on the streets, is it?
I am against kids in breweries and bars, but I got to tell you, I'm starting to come around a little bit because here in France, in the cafes, you see kids there all the time. They're especially the outdoor ones where they can run around and have some fun outdoors. And to me, I've seen that it tends to normalize the idea that drinking is part of a family activity, becomes less of a forbidden fruit for youngsters as they grow up. So that's on the positive side.
And what's the negative side?
They're kids, Glenn.
All right. Well, we will leave on that note. And I hope that you and Teresa I hope it warms up there. You have a lovely day. And as I said last week, you might want to invest in some wall art. Joe Sixpack, it has absolutely been a pleasure hanging out with you today. We'll be back at Tannery Run Brew Works with What's Brewing after this.
So we went to this place called Bucks County for vacation. There was so much to do. We played games, rode on a train, and visited Kids Castle. I went on rides, water slides, and got to hang with Elmo at Sesame Place. We hiked to this huge boulder field called Ringing Rocks. Oh, and I got to meet a pilot. That was so cool. You gotta go.
Oh, welcome back. Sorry. This chili is amazing. We're here, Mike Sealski, Glen Macnow, Tannery Run Brew Works in Ambler. Look for the Monco Maker's Passport. We're here with Tim Brown, owner-operator of this fine joint. Thank you so much for having us. So I'm drinking here a Sympathy for the Devil. Mike, you have what?
I have a What You Need Colch. So I like the song title references in your beers. Very good.
It's good work by you. Good old rock and roll. And what do you have there?
This is a blend of seltzer and beer. Popular in the Midwest, but we're trying to popularize it here in Ambler too. So it's 1/3 German-style wheat beer, and then 2/3 orange cinnamon seltzer.
Okay, so your blends are really something special, and the one we had at the start of the show was really good. And you were explaining to me, and you'll tell the audience better than I will, that you actually sometimes have a batch of beer that goes its separate way into 2 separate beers. I guess one of them is this terrestrial that we tried
Terrestrial,
earlier.
correct.
Yeah, how's this work?
Okay, well, we do splash brewing here. Splash is literally just the 2 words split and batch splashed together. So every time that we brew 1 beer, we brew 2 beers. And this is not an uncommon thing in the brewing industry. Most brewers will split their beers off and add some fruit flavorings or some adjuncts, some spices, and make it a little bit different. But what we do here is we split the beer off at the grain side. So I have 2 different boil kettles, but 1 big mash tun. The grains get split off into 2 beers. We boil them separately. Some beers get Citra and Mosaic hops. Then the sister beer might get Citra and Azaka hops. Very similar beer, but in the end, 2 variables difference, you get 2 drastically different beers. So it's a fun way to kind of see what 1 or 2 variables can make such a drastic difference. And also, I get volume and variety for 1 brew day.
I love that idea. By the way, I got a C in high school science, so you lost me about halfway through. But Mike, you want to talk about this town?
So I used to live in Ambler. I grew up not far from here, and I'm so impressed with this place and what you're doing here, Tim. Talk to us a little bit about kind of the revitalization of Ambler and what's taken place in this town over the last, say 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years is probably pretty accurate. You know, when I graduated high school, was a Hicken in 1999.
I'm an Upper Dublin grad. We were rivals.
Well, we're friends today.
All right, I'll arm wrestle you later.
Little did I know.
Yeah. Ambler did not have much going for it then.
Yeah.
But slowly and surely, we built up with one restaurant here and a little restaurant here. We have a grocery store that came in, and then the theater reopened, and then suddenly the Ambler just became like the epicenter of the area for nightlife and entertainment. So the whole strip on Butler Pike here is full with eclectic restaurants. We have a Peruvian place next door, Tapas Place, Creperie.
Just for the record, you said tapas, not topless.
Tapas.
Okay,
yes. Small plates. Small plates.
Okay.
Yeah. And obviously, Tannery Run being the premier brew pub in all of Ambler.
Well, I think it's great. And so here at Tannery Run, you also host some great events. Hey, nice that after the pandemic, people can get out, get together. Give us a couple of your lead events here.
Yeah, so events are booming right now. People just want to come out, and the more extra added incentive that you can give people tends to be helpful. So we do trivia weekly, and we do table tennis weekly. We have leagues and teams and stuff like that. But we do other events every Sunday. We do all day brunch, and we have bluegrass come in. We're going to start bluegrass brunch, and then we're going to do a bingo brunch. So that's a lot of fun. And then periodically we have drag shows come in. So there's some queens that we know in the area that come in, put on a show. Everyone has a great time. I particularly enjoy it. We sell a lot of cocktails that night.
Yeah.
But everything that we do here is meant to be approachable to people, to be welcoming, the atmosphere, the beers themselves, the food. So we just want people to come and feel at home here, and I think that we accomplished that.
So what's the most popular beer that you guys sell?
IPA, obviously. The terrestrial dragon, will be the one that you're drinking there, Glenn, is easily our best seller. Number 2 is our wheat beer. So it's
Okay.
IPA and then German style wheat beer are number 1 and number 2 weekly, almost every single week.
By the way, the one blend that I really want to mention, I got the Sympathy for the Devil here, and you have Watercolor Dreams. I don't know that we found that one.
That's that green one right there.
This one right here? All right, hold on, let me break one of these off.
All right.
You put together Watercolor Dreams and Sympathy for the Devil, and what do you have?
I believe you have Dreams of the Devil.
Yes!
Yes, which is a great name.
I'm glad I could give you that.
Thank you, sir.
There you go.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
so give people the address, the hours, how they can, when they come out here.
Yeah, we're open Tuesday through Sunday in the evenings on weekdays, and then all day on Saturday and Sunday. We're right across the street from the theater right here on Butler Pike in Ambler, 19002.
And the last thing I want to say is, because we had some of your food, the chicken sandwiches are great.
Tremendous.
The chili, haven't had a chance, the pretzels, all of it made
with beer.
There you go.
That's
Very
right.
important for a brewer. Well, listen, thank you for letting us hang out today, Tim. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure, sir.
Our
Thank you for
pleasure.
coming.
Thanks so
Mike
much, Paul.
Sealski,
My pleasure.
I'll see you on Saturday.
I'll see you Saturday morning, my
All
friend.
right, and everybody, we'll see you next week for an all-new episode of What's Brewing.
What's Brewing is brought to you in part by Monco Maker's Passport. Download your free digital pass and sip your way through Montgomery County. By the Conshohocken Brewing Company, featuring 4 locations and available at beer retailers throughout the tri-state area. By Visit Bucks County. Travel the Bucks County Ale Trail. Get your passport at visitbuckscounty.com. And by support from the Pennsylvania Malt and Brewed Beverage Industry Promotion Board and grant funding from the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board.